Now for a session produced by our underwriter, CTIA. Here to explore 5G's impact, please welcome Meredith Atwell Baker, CEO of CTIA, with Nicholas Thompson, CEO of The Atlantic.
All right. It's my great pleasure to be here. I love your title. You have 7 letters, you have 4 vowels. For Scrabble fans, it's everything except for the U. CEO of CTIA is very cool. 5G. So where are we in the deployment, and when will we even get 3G in this room so people can tweet nice pictures of us?
Great question. And first of all, I'm so happy to be here. I was almost as excited to meet Nick as I am about 5G. Incredible person, amazing resume. So 5G, let me take a step back and tell you that 2G was voice, 3G was data, 4G was video and media, and 5G is what's coming now. We're in about the second year of 5G. Most of these Gs are about a decade. I'm starting to travel the country and seeing really great innovations and innovators using the networks that are being built out. So we're in the very beginning. We've got a ways to go, but we're starting to really see what 5G is going to do.
And what has most surprised you so far as we've rolled it out?
I would say the first killer app of 5G is probably 5G Home Broadband. It's in 70 million homes right now. In the next few years, it'll be in hundreds of millions of homes. It can connect the unconnected where cable can't reach and the underserved, and because it's cheaper, and it's just as fast as cable. These 5G speeds are 100 times faster. They're about 100 times more data, and it's in real time.
And how does it work?
So it's new spectrum. It's mostly in the mid-band spectrum. So it's real time. So when we've talked about, autonomous surgery for a long time, or autonomous cars and remote surgery, all of these things can actually happen with 5G. So what I'm starting to see is how much it's going to transform our lives, whether it is transportation or health or education.
So it is true that if I had a good autonomous car, I wouldn't necessarily need the autonomous surgery because I could just get in the car and get to the doctor.
Okay, that's such an interesting, because I was just at a carrier's office, and in their innovation center, they have this pod, this wireless pod that autonomously drives to your driveway, and it connects you to your doctor, and you jump in there and it takes all your tests and sends it to your doctor and does all those things that you probably don't mind going to the doctor because you're so fit. I hate going to the doctor.
Hey, hold on. I know we're slightly off script here. What does this pod look like, and what do you do when you get in it?
It's like one of those little things one of those little RVs you take camping for the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little table in it. It's got screens, and it's got a mirror that takes all of your body temperatures and all that sort of stuff that you need.
Cool. Well, we'll get some out there on the wharf for anybody who starts suffering from heat stroke, because it's been hot. All right, so the most interesting use so far is people wiring up their houses, but what we've seen in 3G and what we saw in 4G is that it actually creates whole new industries. It creates, Uber. Uber wouldn't have existed without 4G. So what's going to come with 5G? Like, what is an industry that we don't have, that people are struggling with, and it's finally going to work once we have this?
Well, to some extent, we still don't know. But I will say
that you should know more than we do.
We have a foundation that does kind of a Shark Tank for entrepreneurs, and we had the event last week. It's called Catalyst. Our winner was this amazing woman who's a Title I school teacher. She's from DC, but she taught in Virginia, and she had no budget for field trips. So of course she wanted to bring her kids to come see the monuments. She couldn't, so she was like, okay, well, what if we use AR? Well, Wi-Fi couldn't do it. So when 5G rolled out, she's now got this company called Kai XR, that's her name, Kai. And she is now bringing not only the monuments to kids, but she's bringing the world. She's got Egypt, she's got underground sea cables and fish, she's got NASA and the moon. It's really interesting because she's bringing the world to kids. And, frankly, I have kids, you have kids. That's how all kids should learn anyway.
So do you think that one of the killer apps of 5G will be augmented reality?
Oh, absolutely. Augmented virtual reality, for sure.
Okay, great. I'm excited for AR. In fact, I'm more excited for AR than VR, but we can leave that for another conversation. You also feel that 5G will be helpful on climate change. Explain why.
So Accenture said that 20% of our climate goals can be met by the innovation of 5G. And so I kind of pushed and I said, well, what does that mean? And the answer was, well, that's like taking 72 million cars, the emission of 72 million cars off the road. again, what's 72 million cars? Because on a Wednesday here in DC, I feel like that may be how many cars are in the road as I try to get here to work. That is more than the number of cars that were made and sold globally last year. That's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars, but how does 5G reduce emissions to equal the amount of cars taken off the road?
All right, so our convention's in Vegas next week. There's this company called Halo. It's run by a guy named Anand. They driverlessly bring you your rental car. In Vegas, it's running right now. And so if you want your convertible for the weekend, if you want to stay in Vegas, which I don't, but if you want your convertible for the weekend and go see the Hoover Dam, then like your convertible drives up to you and you can get in it and go to Hoover Dam. So you can think about where that's going to go. That's just the beginning of what our driverless car situation is going to look like.
So 5G is helping us move to a driverless future, a more efficient future. That's going to end up making our roadways more efficient. It's going to make cars more efficient. What else will 5G do for climate change or for combating the climate crisis?
Think about agriculture. There are soil sensors so that you're not watering when you're not supposed to. You can put, I think I might have read that DC actually started with smart trash cans. Sounds silly, but how many garbage trucks drove by and pick up trash from trash cans that aren't full? So they can tell when the trash cans are full and when they're not. You know where to go.
Huh. The way you tell in New York is they're overflowing and there's crap piled up all over the sidewalk, and that's usually the case.
I kind of feel that way about P Street too, but.
Yeah, the other thing, I guess, is that if augmented reality works, you probably don't need us on stage, and I ate a couple granola bars down in the green room, and that probably costs a lot of energy. You also believe that 5G could have benefits for inflation. Explain that.
So inflation is what, 7 to 9% now? If you go to the grocery store, you think it's more like 25%. I have an electric car, but I hear gas shock's pretty bad. The two outliers, this is really interesting, are smartphones and wireless data plans. They have year over year decreased. They have, over the last 10 years, they've been cut in half.
And it's not because we use them less.
Right, it's more data and faster speeds, and it costs less.
But is that 5G specific, or is that the tech industry in general?
That's the competition. That's what the competition of the American market has brought to customers here in America.
So tell me the most exciting thing for 5G that most of the folks in this room and watching on these screens will feel. What's the next thing where they're going to feel like, as opposed to just like, oh my gosh, I can, download trash off the internet quicker. Yeah.
It's you. I watched you actually on 5G today.
Did you? Did you watch me at like high speed so I talk even faster than normal?
I watched your Davos interviews. They were really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's a hard question to answer only because I think it's going to be so transformative that it's going to change every part of our life. 4G was, as you mentioned, very transformative with Uber and the whole sharing economy. In 5G, it's every part. It's transportation, it's education, it's health, it's our economy. So it's really important that we get this right and we remain the leaders in the world of the wireless industry.
What is the most? We have 30 seconds or 18 seconds left, but in 5G we'll double it. 34. What is the most important legislative step that has to happen now?
More mid-band spectrum. The government has 2/3 of mid-band spectrum. That's where the entire world is rolling out 5G, so we need more spectrum to keep up with them.
Awesome. Right on time. Perfect. Thank you so much, Meredith. That was a great pleasure to talk with you.